Neptune Systems just released the latest evolution of Apex, the A3 series controllers, and today we're going to be looking at the new A3 Apex Pro. There have been quite a few updates to what is essentially their new flagship Apex controller, from new ports to new accessories and even a new in-app experience. There's a lot to cover, so let's get cracking, as in, let's crack this box open. The very first thing you're gonna notice when you get the Apex Pro out of the packaging is the base unit has a new finish to go along with that Pro emblem. Neptune Systems made sure that the Pro model stood out from the pack by giving it the same rubberized soft touch coating that we first saw on the Sky LED light. Although it doesn't change the way the Apex functions at all, it does add a really nice premium feel, and I totally dig it. Something else I really dig is the new selection of probes included with the Pro. The one that specifically caught my eye is the newly redesigned temperature probe. Rather than the stubby and bulbous temp probe that we've been using for years, Neptune Systems finally made the switch to a sleeker and much more practical temp probe that mirrors the standard pH, ORP, and salinity probes, meaning we can finally fit our Apex temperature probe into standard probe holders, as well as inline probe holders like the ones from Adaptive Reef. As expected, you'll also receive high-quality double junction pH and ORP probes, which can be incredibly useful tools for reefing. What you won't see is a salinity probe. That probe has actually been replaced with some very useful sensors that the majority of reefers are going to get far more use out of. And that includes the brand new optical leak sensor, the LV3, and a 15-inch LLS liquid level sensor. Both of these sensors can add some very much needed redundancy and safety, not just for your pets, but also for your home. The LV3 sensor has a couple of big upgrades over the LV1 and LV2 sensors. First off, being an optical sensor, it's fully sealed in epoxy and waterproof, meaning it can be used over and over to detect liquids without any damage to the sensor. And secondly, because it doesn't use conductive strips, it can be placed on more surfaces, even conductive surfaces like metal, without accidentally tripping the sensor, which is a perfect match for this Pro Apex bundle. The LLS is also worthy of that Pro badge in my humble opinion, and is actually an industry first for granular liquid level monitoring. Unlike a simple optical eye that can tell you whether or not a liquid is touching it, the LLS can tell you the depth of a liquid it is submerged in, when that level changes, and by how much. This opens up some very cool opportunities for monitoring all sorts of liquid levels, like your ATO, your mixing station, and where I think most of us will be using it, in our sumps. Not only can you set up multiple alarms for various water depths as the level in your sump drops, you can even trigger your DC return pump to slow down as the water level gets too low to prevent cavitation in the event your ATO reservoir is empty or that your ATO failed to refill, saving the pump from burning out or the system being without critical life support. But that's just one example. With the widgets in the app always showing you the current level of the liquid in inches or centimeters and the fully graphed history, there are going to be tons of new and useful ways to harness this type of liquid level monitoring. Including these two sensors instead of the salinity probe is a huge win in my opinion. I will mention that previously, in order to use these kinds of sensors, you would also need to pick up an FMM module, but when you flip the base unit up and look at the ports, you're gonna notice 4 new ports that do not currently exist on the A2 Apex. Those 4 ports are actually FMM ports for fluid monitoring, and not only do they work for the included LV3 and LLS sensors, but they also work with optical level sensors and flow sensors, meaning you no longer need a separate FMM module to take advantage of those accessories, and instead can plug them right into the A3 Apex Pro base unit, which basically saves you $100 if all you want to do is grab a couple accessory sensors to add to the system. This is so smart, and it's a really nice added value that makes the new A3 Apex Pro a great way to add some always appreciated redundancy right out of the box. There is one more new feature that you're not going to be able to see right out of the box, and that is the built-in audible alarm. This one is another big win for me personally. Instead of having to purchase a separate device to act as an audible alarm to draw your attention to the tank if you're at home and you just don't happen to have your phone in your hand, Apex now has a shrill, attention-grabbing audible alarm built directly into the base unit. So for those who prefer it, you won't need to spend extra or dedicate space on your controller board or wall for a separate alarm. A lot of the new A3 Apex Pro is going to be very familiar. Just like the A2 Apex, you still have a power port, 2 Aquabus ports, a temperature probe port, a pair of probe ports for either pH or ORP probes, a salinity probe port, a pair of dual channel 0 to 10 volt control ports, an Ethernet port, and an I/O port. Both the base unit and the EB832 still have their fantastic mounting solutions for attaching them to a controller board. The physical setup and the app experience for both iOS and Android devices is also virtually identical. The app does a great job of walking you through the initial setup, which only takes about 10 minutes from start to finish. Once you pair up your Apex to the Fusion app, you're gonna see that all of the outlets are already pre-configured for the most popular reefing gear, and you can just plug in your devices to those respective outlets on the EB832 and you're off to the races. One thing that has changed with the app experience is that Neptune now serves up customizing your setup right away with improved setup features in the A3. The tasks function makes adding new gear super simple with 0 coding skills. If you are a control freak though, you can get as in-depth and nerdy as you like with it, create your own custom codes, and really make the Apex Pro your own. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, the Pro looks great, but I was an Apex EL fan, you weren't left out. While the EL badge was dropped, the spirit of the EL was not, and you can check out the brand new A3 Apex and everything that it comes with by clicking right here.